Ladies and gentlemen, members of the university faculty, and today's graduates, as Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs here at the University of Texas at Arlington, I hereby call this commencement ceremony to order. I would ask that you now all please rise for the entrance of our national colors by the UT Arlington Corps of Cadets, which will be followed by the singing of our national anthem by Miss Elizabeth Stelzer. Gentlemen, if you would, please remove your hats for the singing of the national anthem. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. I would now like to call upon Dean Scott Ryan to preside over today's ceremony. Dean Ryan.
Thank you, Provost Elsenbaumer. We are honored to have with us today our University President, Vistas Cabrari. University Provost and Vice President, Dr. Ronald Elsenbaumer. Vice President for University Communications, Lynn Waters. Vice President for Information Technology and Chief Information Officer, Jim Bradley. Vice President, Global Outreach Global Education Outreach and Extended Studies, Teresa Madden. Vice President for Student Affairs, Dr. Tim Quinlan. Vice Provost for Digital Teaching and Learning, Dr. Pete Smith. Assistant Vice President for Strategic Initiatives, Dr. Ashley Ferguson. Executive Director of UTA Fort Worth, Dr. Mike West. University Attorney, Shelby Bozeman. And Dean of the Honors College, Dr. Carl Petruso. Seated with me today are Dr. Nan Ellen, Dean of the College of Architecture, Planning, and Public Affairs. Dr. Kimberly Van Noort, Associate Vice Provost for Undergraduate Studies and Director of University College. And Dr. Donna Akers, Director of Interdisciplinary Studies of University College. Serving as announcers for the candidates are Dr. Douglas Clark from the College of Architecture, Planning, and Public Affairs. Dr. Diane Mitschke from the School of Social Work. And Dr. Joan Reinhardt from University College. I would like to take a moment to recognize an important group of people who helped each graduate reach this important milestone, our members of the faculty. These dedicated women and men have not only provided you with important classroom instruction, but they have shaped your intellectual formulation in labs, in the field, and in the community. They have served as teachers, mentors, and role models, collaborating with you in the pursuit of academic achievement and preparation for what lies ahead, be it with further study, entry into the educated workforce, or some other post-commencement adventure. Would all members of the faculty please rise to be recognized? Thank you. Please be seated. It is now my honor to introduce our commencement speaker, Ann Utley. In 1963, Ann Utley and her husband, Bob Utley, entered Arlington State College, now known as UT Arlington. Ann embarked on her ambition to receive her master's in business administration. During their years of study, their first child was born, and Ann dropped her educational goals to help support her family. Years later, Ann would work a step at a time toward her education. Along the way, she had many supporters and mentors, including her parents, husband, 2 sons, and now her 2 daughter-in-laws and 7 grandchildren, all of whom are the joys of her life. In 1997, Ann received her master's in business administration from the University of Texas in Dallas. Ann was appointed by Governor Ann Richards and retained under Governor George Bush to serve as chairman of the Texas Department of Mental Health and Mental Retardation for 7 years. Her career includes positions as president of the Mental Health Association in Texas, interim CEO and chairman of the National Mental Health Association, and positions of CEO, manager, and board member for numerous boards. Today, Ann Utley is chairman and president of the Utley Education Foundation, promoting education that prepares individuals for the 21st century and beyond. Her continued work will avail exemplary students with an opportunity to receive exceptional education by matching their goals, talents, and acumen. Over Ann's lifetime, she has received many awards and honors. However, she considers today that her finest reward comes from having a wonderful family and being blessed to give the freedom to serve others. Through the Utley Education Foundation, Ann Utley plans to continue serving by investing in organizations that do the best job supporting and preparing our most cherished asset, our children, through the 21st century and beyond. Please join me in welcoming Ann Utley to our podium.
I look out on your faces and I think what joy abounds out there. I know that you parents and you friends and all you students are so excited that you're beside yourself, and I congratulate you. I want to start out by thanking Dr. Ryan for your thoughtful introduction today. I thank you, President Cabrera, for inviting me to address the 2015 graduates of the UT Arlington. And I also want to thank him for giving me nightmares for the last months as he asked me to do this, and I said with all the confidence, well, sure. And then after about 3 nights of not sleeping on it, I thought, why did I ever say I'd do this when I haven't talked to anybody in probably 20 years, particularly with this big audience. But I thank you for having me today, and I so appreciate your confidence. I thank you, Provost Elsenbaumer, Dean Ryan, Dean Ellen, and Vice Provost Van Noort. I thank the faculty, the families, the friends, and I thank most of all the 2,000 graduates of the University of Texas at Arlington for having me here today. As I contemplated what I could offer to those graduating from the new College of Architecture, Planning, and Public Affairs, the School of Social Work, and University College, I pondered what in my history and what have I learned that I might impart to you that helps make you more special than you are right now. Might I add again, this is my first commencement address, and I know that you're really excited about this and that you're really going to remember all of it tomorrow, but I want you to try real hard. The University of Texas at Arlington has a very warm place in both my husband and my hearts. We began our life together here, and after our 52 plus years together and watching this university grow, we are so proud of what it has become. A university that brings exceptional and exemplary opportunities to our students, to our cities, to our state, to our nation, and to our world. The University of Texas at Arlington is implementing the Strategic Plan 2020, Bold Solutions, Global Plan. The plan focuses on academic, research, and community endeavors on 4 guiding themes: health and human condition, sustainable urban communities, global environment impact, and data-driven discovery. These themes will help UT Arlington address the epic challenge that faces our swelling urban regions, an urgent calling as the Dallas-Fort Worth metro area with almost 7 million people today rapidly is approaching megacity status. You as graduates are in the perfect place at the perfect time to help sustain UTA's 2020 plan. Please pay attention to and explore all that is available to you in this Dallas-Fort Worth area. Be curious, ask a lot of questions, listen to those answers, and you will be able to champion your passion and your purpose. And remember that participation and just showing up are important when you focus on your purpose. Also, as you start on this journey, you're going to hit some obstacles. And I can give you a for instance. I have dyslexia, so not everything comes to me really easily. However, dyslexia helped me know that anything I did was going to take more focus, work ethic was going to have to be stronger than for most, and that I could learn ways to work around dyslexia that would make me stronger in the long run. As I looked at the colleges and the schools I was to address today, I realized that each of you has a grand opportunity to create those bold solutions and to make considerable changes in the 21st century and beyond. As I looked at my past experiences and how I might have had the opportunity to make those positive changes, I found common relevance in the combination of all your schools to make a huge difference in this world. My past experience included broad changes to services to those with mental illness and mental retardation. In that process, the opportunities materialized to help establish policies and then extend those policies into planning and implementation to serve these individuals better. Additionally, add to that community involvement into one of the finer state private-public partnerships, the first Central Market on Lamar Avenue in North Lamar in Austin, Texas. That development has continued to be a central part of Austin, and you know it's all over the Dallas-Fort Worth area, in a lot of areas in Texas. And over the years, many of the attributes of that central market concept has extended across Texas, Louisiana, and Mexico into the H-E-B grocery stores, bringing a newer, extensive grocery experience for their patrons. This central market was developed using a ground lease from the Texas Department of Mental Health and Mental Retardation on Austin State Hospital grounds. It put millions of dollars into the state coffers. Through these experiences, I was given the opportunity to work with some of our state and frankly some of our nation's finest people to better serve and make life better for a population that was far underserved and in some ways sheerly forgotten. Other than being a family member or a person that has mental illness, much of the time they are forgotten. In preparation of visiting with you today, I asked myself, what were the influences in taking me on this journey of services that has been such a blessing to others, to me, and especially for my family? To begin with, I had some of the finest mentors that one could possibly have. And therefore, I would like to visit with you regarding what I call mentorhood. What you need to look at what you need to look for in a mentor, and then how you need to become a mentor. Availing yourselves of incredible mentors and being an involved mentor, you are capable of making bold changes in your life, your community, your state, your nation, and your world. What are the attributes of a cream of the crop group of mentors? First, they need to be focused on their passion. They are curious, they have an imagination, they are consistent, they are purpose-driven, they are creative, they're enthusiastic, they're encouragers, and most of all, they want to share their purpose and their passion. Much of my experience has been that I have not necessarily sought out a mentor, although I have sought out mentors. My mentors, for the most part, have been those that sought me out because we had many of the same interests, because they needed help in an area which I had some experience, or because I exhibited some aura that gave them confidence that I could be supportive of their needs. Mentors are models, so one needs to surround themselves with those individuals that are worth emulating or supporting. However, invite and surround yourselves with those that share your passion. Don't just wait for a mentor to call upon you, you call them. And mentors come in every style and manner. As an example, one of my favorite little mentors, whom I thought I was mentoring, was a cute little boy in a daycare facility for underprivileged children. While my husband and I were living on a shoestring, I had young children for which I was paying a babysitter to stay with them while I volunteered at the daycare center. That precious little boy and I were sitting around the sand pile while I was helping him build a sandcastle. In an instant, he picked up a bucket filled with sand and dumped it all over my head. And before I could get out of his way, he dumped it on my head again. That little fella taught me a great lesson of that timing meant everything. Mentoring, either giving or taking, comes at the right time in your life. You have to be constantly aware of when that opportunity exists. Then, as further examples, I had two great governors that mentored me through the difficulties of leading a huge agency into the 21st century. Governor Richards and Governor Bush were certainly different in their styles and had different ways of governing. However, both of them had huge hearts, they had a lot of passion, they loved this state, and they loved its people. One appointed me to the job, giving me their expectations, and watched over most everything I did, never failing to uplift me through difficult situations. The other gave me the job, telling me their expectations said, "I'll stay out of your way as long as I like what you're doing." Yet, through their attention, caring, and passion, they guided me through numerous difficult situations. They were governors at the right time in Texas. They entered my life at a time when my passion was doing everything possible for an underserved population in our state. Together, we did make a difference. We made a big difference. Not only do I consider both of those great mentors, I also consider them dear friends. In 2011, I was given the opportunity to begin the Utley Education Foundation through purchase and ownership of student housing company on a university campus. The student housing was built mostly in the late 1980s and early 1990s on a ground lease at the University of Texas at Dallas. Although our family had been in the development business and student housing business for years, this was a huge stretch for me, as I had never been a participant in that family business. I had been on the development board, received my MBA, and been blessed by many of the administrators and professors at UTD. Through the support of a management company, we were able to manage through operations, supporting our students housed in our facilities, and dealing with older buildings needing a whole lot of attention. Through that experience, I also learned a lot about the best of mentors, and I also learned about those that certainly needed more mentoring. In 2013, the foundation sold the student housing facilities. The funds derived from the sale has allowed the foundation to make a difference in the lives of children and young adults striving for better education and readying themselves for the 21st century. My passion today is giving every opportunity to students and educators to be ready to serve our communities, state, nation, and world through education. Through the processes of owning housing and the management of facilities, to now having a foundation that supports my passion, I learned a lot more about myself. I needed to be in my comfort zone and where my passions were, following my passion to uplift people. I had stretched myself owning and operating student housing and will always be grateful for the experience. However, it was clear to me that I needed to return to my passion and my purpose. Through the Utley Education Foundation, those and organizations that uplift students and educators are constantly mentoring me. Additionally, I am now given the opportunity to mentor others. Through the process of learning all I can about an organization which the foundation might support, I have been mentored by some of the most disciplined and caring individuals I've ever met. Through that process, I've also been able to depart to them things I have learned over all these years of service. It has definitely been a two-way learning experience for all, and the learning experience has brought about positive changes in those organizations and in me. Excuse me. Mentorship is not to be taken lightly. It's not an onus. However, mentoring does take dedication, it takes consistency, it takes investment, wisdom, a lot of courage, a lot of enthusiasm, passion, and purpose from both the mentor and the mentee. So as you start your journey, continue to stretch yourselves. Know your purpose and your passion. Reach out to those that share your purpose and your passion. Take every advantage of learning from mentors, and then mentor others that together you can make a positive difference in our communities, in our state, in our nation, and in our world. I thank you so much for allowing me to speak to you today. I am so proud of you, and I'm yay for you. Go. And I wish every one of you the very, very best in this journey you're getting ready to take. And I love looking at your smiling faces. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Utley, for your inspiring words. If you allow me, on behalf of the School of Social Work, the College of Architecture, Planning and Public Affairs, and University College, to give you this small token of our appreciation. Thank you. And now we begin the awarding of degrees. Please notice that many candidates will have cords, stoles, and medallions to recognize their accomplishments and achievements. Some of you will notice they include a double gold cord indicating cum laude, magna cum laude, or summa cum laude. School of Social Work students who have been recognized for completing a certain number of service hours are wearing the Phi Alpha medallion, a gold cord, and a gold stole. It is our pleasure to recognize the candidates receiving the Doctor of Philosophy degree. Dr. Ellen, Dean of College of Architecture, Planning and Public Affairs, will present the candidates.
At this time, we will recognize College of Architecture, Planning, and Public Affairs candidates for doctoral degrees. Candidates, please rise and come forward. I am pleased to recognize that these individuals, by satisfactorily completing their current semester of academic work, will meet all requirements for their degrees as specified by their graduate studies committees and the Graduate Assembly.
Edmund Warren Deeth. Stephen Appel. Dian Nosti Kasari. Robert Joseph Sullivan III.
We now recognize the School of Social Work candidates receiving the Doctor of Philosophy degree. Dean Ryan will present the candidate.
At this time, we will recognize the School of Social Work's candidates for doctoral degrees. Candidates, please rise and come forward. I am pleased to recognize that these individuals, by satisfactorily completing their current semester of academic work, will meet all the requirements for their degrees as specified by their graduate studies committees and the Graduate Assembly.
Tracy Barnett, Doctor of Philosophy and Social Work, Supervising Professor Dr. Alexa Smith Osborne. Shannon Sleva, Doctor of Philosophy and Social Work, Supervising Professor Dr. Rebecca Hagar. Marcella Williams Smith, Doctor of Philosophy and Social Work, Supervising Professor Dr. Regina Pretorius. Kara Wallace, Doctor of Philosophy and Social Work, Supervising Professor Dr. Deborah Woody. Holly Slater, Doctor of Philosophy and Social Work, Supervising Professor Dr. Diane Mitchke.
Please join me in congratulating our newest PhDs. Dean Ellen, please come forward to recognize the master's degree students for architecture and landscape architecture.
Will the Master in Architecture and Master in Landscape Architecture degree candidates please rise and come forward? I am pleased to recognize that these individuals, by satisfactorily completing their current semester of academic work, will meet all the requirements for their degrees as specified by their Graduate Studies Committees and the Graduate Assembly.
Manuel Banda. Nathan Barnes. Matthew Cesare. Andre Matthew Crabb. Stephanie Adrian Dubinsky. Alma Espinosa. Dwayne Ford II. Aldo Guerra. Adam Heisera. Bruce Kitchell. Candace Jean Lettingham Ramos. Alexander Quintanilla. Cord Reed. Brian James Vayner. Pamela Ward. Megan Wolf. Jean Javouet. Jiton Lee. Karen Dawn Teague. Alexandra Trace. We will now recognize the Master of Landscape Architecture. What? What? Okay. Yes, so.
Will Will the Master in City and Regional Planning, Master of Public Administration, and Master of Urban Affairs and Policy degree candidates please rise? I am pleased to recognize that these individuals, by satisfactorily completing their current semester of academic work, will meet all the requirements for their degrees as specified by their Graduate Studies Committees and the Graduate Assembly.
We will now recognize the Master of City and Regional Planning. Please come forward. Kenneth Jackson. Donato Perez. Danielle Quintanilla. Natalie Watkins. Sterling A. Boyd. Justin Conway Fisher-Morgan. Caitlin Renee Francis. Larry Francis. Gwendolyn Harper. Katia Hathaway. Ryan Heath Keenan. Carla Elizabeth Mancini. Jessima McActon. Justin Murphy. Juanita Rigsby. Nedra Robinson. Jessica Lynn Baca. Keely A. Barrow. Amira Ford. We will now recognize the Master of Urban Affairs and Policy. Please come forward. We also now will recognize the Master of Public Administration. Please come forward.
Was that everybody?
Supposedly.
I think oh, here they are.
Stop keeping
There's
track.
some more people? Okay, I think we recognized all the master's degrees.
Did we?
Okay. Did we recognize all the master's degrees? Okay, good, good,
All
good.
right.
Congratulations to all.
Congratulations.
Dean Ryan, please come forward to recognize those who have completed the requirements for the master's degree in social work.
Will the Master in Social Work degree candidates please rise and come forward? I am pleased to recognize that these individuals, by satisfactorily completing their current semester of academic work, will meet all the requirements for their degrees as specified by their Graduate Studies Committees and the Graduate Assembly.
We will now recognize the Master candidates in social work. Karen Abanza. Taquiya Akbar. Sheila Alabi. Dajoya Barnes. Anise Simone Beck. Aisha Bilal. Amy Bulkins. Katrina Boswell. Lakeisha Nicole Bradford. Alexis Vergeas. Laura Ann Burgos. Lola Rena Cannon. Britton Carmody. Melissa Renee Chase. Robin Lee Collins. Brittany Elise Cruz. Diana Dolores Cuellar. Crystal Deanne Cumby. Maricia Davis. Latanya Nicole Davison. David Diaz. Brianda Diaz de Leon. Sophia Denwitty. Angela Maxine Dragoo. Hanan El Falal. Charles Albert Gillum. Jenny Mary Greenfield. Rebecca Ann Greenhagen. Gilbert Edward Guerrero. Azur D. Hargis. Christina Renee Hayes. Jennifer Hatrick. Tina Lori Hickam. Hazel Hosey. Christina Holtz. Yvonne Hunt. Jermika Gerald. Jessica Jimenez. Siobhan Johnson. Gina Kaplan. Megan Amanda Kennedy. Janelle Klein. Sarah Kolokachas. Alfreda Denise Lewis. Melissa Lee Lopez. Elizabeth Maldonado. Stephanie Maldonado. Travanti Octavia Maps. Andrea Mason. Lauren Masters. Ariana Danielle McZeal. Joanna Lee Michaels. Michelle Mitchell. Esther Njoki Mukaha. Angela Dongo. Amber Neely. Camille Novello. Leslie Ann Oates. Lola Ogunmakin. Susanna Ordonez. Jessica Pantoja. Pauline Patterson. Lavette Trenton Pereira. Barbara Jean Powers. Savannah Ray Reyes. Angela Latrice Robinson. Corey Michael Robinson. Crystal Ann Roman. Rachel Rossiter. Claudia Isabel Ruiz. Samantha Ann Rushing. Christian Santiago. Lindsay Genevieve Sather. Jennifer Amanda Sibley. Jessica Caitlin Smith. DeAndrea Dior Smith. Michelle Sparks. Nada Grace Sorensen. Raina Lynn Talude. Candace Monique Thompson. Lisa Rands Thompson. Matthew Prescott Thompson. Diana Tobone Sanchez. Iris Tule. Whitney Brianne Turney. Catherine Vasquez. Claudio Manuel Ventura. Charisse Devon Williams. Mahogany Nicole Wilson. Vonda Jean Wright. Gina Beth Werfline. Nazia Zuberi.
Congratulations to you all. Dean Ellen, please come forward to recognize those who have completed the requirements for the Bachelor of Science degree in Architecture and the Bachelor of Science degree in Interior Design.
Will the candidates for Bachelor of Science in Architecture and Interior Design degrees please rise? These candidates, by satisfactorily completing their current semester of academic work, will meet all the requirements for their degrees as specified by the department faculty and the undergraduate assembly. I am pleased to recognize that they are completing the degree for which they have been certified. Congratulations to all.
Sergio Alvarado.
Professor Bijan Youssef Zada will now present the candidates for Bachelor of Science degrees in Architecture and Interior Design.
Will the candidate for Bachelor of Science in Architecture please come forward and be recognized?
Alejandra Avilés. Carlos Bautista. Christopher Box. Maria Ángeles Cruz. Ikram Ewalid. Julia Green. David Jasinski. Mabel Chouwei Lo. Francois Long. Edward Mendez. Krishna Lal Mistry. Tuan Win. Will Ogburn. Tolualope Olianka. Olakunle Only. Cesar Paulin. Juan Marco Pierce. Francisco Moises Reséndez Carrillo. Astrid Sukur. Travis Alton Teeter. David Andrew Tidwell.
Will the candidates for Bachelor of Science in Interior Design please come forward and be recognized?
Karis Bishop. Anthony Boyer. Elizabeth Consoneri. Danielle Elizabeth Dillon. Denise Gatica. Nu Hui. Rachel Quinn. Kenneth Jefferson. Madeline Lemoyne. Emily Elizabeth Mormon. Pooja Parpu. Carissa Steyer. Francesca Sykes. Ashton Nicole Tate. George Wesley Thrush III.
Congratulations to all. Dean Ryan, please come forward to recognize those who have completed the requirements for the Bachelor of Science in Social Work degree.
We love them. Will the candidates for Bachelor of Science in Social Work please rise? These candidates, by satisfactorily completing their current semester of academic work, will meet all the requirements for their degrees as specified by the department faculty and the undergraduate assembly. I am pleased to recognize that they are completing the degree for which they have been certified. Congratulations to you all.
We will now recognize the candidates for Bachelor of Science in Social Work. Ibunkun Akinlade Nu. Christina Lynn Alonso. Sylvia Avila. Asia Bennett. Carol Denise Carter. Maria Irene Brasino. Kelsey Nicole Catt. Elizabeth Cazares. Mary Alina de la Cruz. Fatim Diabate. Kelsey Brianna Dodson. Gary Durden. Benito Escobar. Alyssa Fernandez. Tanya Fernandez. Rachel Kirby Fields. Elizabeth Fleming. Howard Patrick Frazier. Daniel Michael Gabler. Patrick Garces. Nicole Gibson. Chelsea Gidry. Rhea Hartfield. Alma Hernandez. Sandy Fabiola Hernandez. Jessica Hernandez. Jennifer Lee Hewitt. Amanda Howard. Aziza Isa. Tell me how. Comfort Temitope Jenide. David Jones. Tiffany Kitch. Kenna Rico. Shavana Lee. Christy Janae Lewis. Janet Lopez. Peter Brandon Lufkin. Michael Paul Loomis. Sharon Denise Mahonis. Priscilla Montemayor. Teresa Moore. Alejandra Moscoso. Alicia Leanne Murray. Margaret Chepkamoy Mutai. Eric Jones Mikiza. Ashley Danielle Odum. Monisola Abigail Omapariola. Shaquenta Peltia Moore. Portia Bulani. Oh, I'm sorry. Janet Portia Bulani. Maria Ramirez. Moriah Ramos. Stacy Dione Reynolds. Edna Rivera. Elizabeth Marie Roach. Pamela Latrice Roberson. Carrie Lee Ross. Zainab Sabir. Jessica Jade Lakshmi Salzetti. Gretchen Schulz Ward. Hannah Shin. Patty K. Talek. Brittany Lee Thompson. Elizabeth Valdez. Catherine Schmidt Vigil. Erica Villafranco. Erica Colston. Jasmine Raquel Webbs. Taylor Diane Willis. Pamela G. Yorif. Natalia Zamora. Heather Zipper.
Congratulations to you all. Dr. Van Noort, Associate Vice Provost for Undergraduate Studies and Director of University College, please come forward to recognize those who have completed the requirements for the Bachelor of Science degree in University College.
Will the candidates for interdisciplinary studies degrees please rise and come forward? These candidates, by satisfactorily completing their current semester of academic work, will meet all requirements for their degrees as specified by the department faculty and the undergraduate assembly. I am pleased to recognize that they are completing the degree for which they have been certified.
Robert Anderson. Courtney J. Austin. Richard Logan Berry. Taylor Nicole Brown. Andre Conti. Francesca K. Darley. Alexis Elvie De La Fuente. Ronald Evans. Heriberto Godinez. Crystal Gomez. Pamela Gueco. Roshana Denise Harrison. Jonathan Cornell Hill. Robin Ashley Hobbs. Andre Nicholas Howard. Vanessa Huerta. Morgan Taylor Hunt. William Joseph. Sam Jung. Helen Elizabeth Klopfenstein. Elena Nicole Lind. Raquel Marquez. Simone Martin. Kevin Lee Mayo. Tiara Nicole McCaster. Laurentius McGill. Heidi Ann McMullen. Pearl Mehta. Chantel Sherelle Miles. Byron Miller. Courtney Mose. Jasmine Moss. Rashid Motlag. Lorraine Sylvette Negron Diaz. Cameron Newson. Diana Nguyen. Catherine Peer. Desiree Powell. Gary Joseph Richard. Jonathan Rivera. Brittany Nicole Robbins. Taria Raquel Robertson Etter. Roy Rucker Jr. Sierra Stewart. Taylor Mackenzie Story. Jessica Strapp. Monty Paul Tiefi. Vanessa Lee Traherne. Andre Vandenbreck. Amara Wainwright. James Cash Wilkerson. Lakeisha Williams. Andy Wong. Soshil Zavala.
Will the candidates for Bachelor of Science in University Studies degrees please rise and come forward? These candidates, by satisfactorily completing their current semester of academic work, will meet all the requirements for their degrees as specified by the department, faculty, and the undergraduate assembly. I am pleased to recognize that they are completing the degree for which they have been recognized.
Anthony William Abbott. Kevin Abernethy. Graciela Acosta. Rosalise Aguia. Sofia Alcala. Taylor Diane Amy. Sarah Blackwell. Stephanie Blaze Bauer. Rebecca Ann Bondurant. Linda Boonlack. Savannah Marie Bro. Sarah Brooks. Andrea Brown. J.C. Burt. Jordan Butler. Zain Arif Boot. Denise Carmona. Elliot Alexander Carreno Loca. Jocelyn Castro. Elantra Shundale Clemens. Celestine Collins. Daryl Vincent Daduya. Crystal Diaz. Kristen Luan Din. Nicole Demes. Chelsea Nicole Irvin. Crystal Flores. Reginald Lewis Foxworth II. Michael Jerome Gardner. Margarita Giran. Zachary Scott Glazier. Kimberly Gonzalez. Peter Graff. Robert Graham. Tecumseh Graham. Cameron Green. Charles Bobo Green. Chris Gray. Taylor Renee Gross. Carlos Felipe Haley. Sarah Elizabeth Hancock. Michael Antonio Hardwick. Amanda Ray Harris. Diane Guinell Harry. Jacqueline Hager. Clinton Hendricks. Kaylee Nicole Hendricks. Rafael Hernandez. Justin Lee Herrera. Jacob Bennett Holland. Tara Lee Howell. Emmanuel Jackson. Danielle Irene Johnson. Robert Francis Kalina. Hirit Kefeni. Cynthia Rayford Kingston. Casey Joe Lewis. Evelyn Lopez. Jessica Lopez. Tonya McCarr. Quincy Martin. Tara Charnice Martin. Stacy Martinez. Nancy Mata. Spencer Mays. Breanne Nicole McBride. Angela Helen McKnight. Chanda Sareen Miave. Rebecca Danielle Mickleworth. Close. Ashley Millsaps. Kiara Montano. Hanan Mahmoud Morjan. Austin Morris. Arnesia Murphy. Glenda Morel. Han Nguyen. James Nguyen. Jason Lee Niemola. Margaret Shea Najik. Ayodeji Olaseni Olatunji Bello. Caitlin Shea Olsbury. Awela Owubua. Laureen Osborne. Emily Owsley. Brett Parker. Josue Paredo. Cisco Perez. Matt Pescada. Kimberly Phillips. Asia Karen Pink. Javon Anthony Powers. Daisy Ramirez. Hisamar Ramirez. Emily Rush. Brittany Page Sanders. Holly Landers Shaw. Andrew Allen Scoggin. Ashley Scott. LaShonda Scott. Stacy Lynn Self. Brandy Jo Simek. Bobby Cisco. Stephanie Smith. Marisa Soto. Jonathan Paul Spencer. Crystal Celine Tabawada. Samara Tadayan. Barakat Tillahun. David Tron. Josh David Trimberger. Jessica Vara. Rachel Vihil. Colin Vito. Bethany Kathleen Vogel. Anthony Rashad Walker. Colby Martin Walker. Henry Wanjiru. Nicole Ward. Hannah Wilfong. Monica Wynn. Tracy Jeanette Young.
Congratulations to you all. Before I ask the President to step forward to confer degrees, I would like to ask all candidates to rise. While this day and this ceremony focuses on the graduates, we want to be sure to recognize the tremendous support these students have received from their loved ones, those who provided emotional, intellectual, and even financial support to enable them to reach this point. So graduates, will you please stand and join me in recognizing those not wearing caps and gowns, parents, grandparents, spouses, siblings, and friends who have sustained you on your journey. Graduates, upon completion of your degrees, UT Arlington is now your alma mater. At this time, would everybody please stand for the singing of the alma mater, the words to which are printed in your program.
Faculty and guests, you may be seated. Graduates, please remain standing. We're gathered here to share in the celebration of a transition in the lives of our students, the crossing of a symbolic threshold from students to learned members and leaders of society. You are about to become alumni of this great institution. This year, almost 10,000 students will earn their degrees from the University of Texas at Arlington. This means that you will now be one of over 200,000 alumni, and all of you will have a tremendous impact on the community and influence over all our futures. You, our graduating students, represent our very best, and we expect that each of you will change the world for the better. Each of you has touched us in so many ways. We will miss you, yet we are happy that you are moving on to another chapter in your lives. On your shoulders now rests the responsibility for furthering the reputation of the University of Texas at Arlington by what you do and what you achieve from this day forth through the future. And as you get ready to leave these hallowed halls, we ask that you stay connected and engaged with your alma mater. Do come and visit us often. There will be no more tests, no labs, no projects, nothing more that you have to do. Talk about your university affiliation with pride. Play a proud role as alumni in furthering our continuing drive for higher levels of excellence and celebrate the accomplishments of our university just as we celebrate yours. We are now at the moment that you've been waiting for all these years. The celebration of your success and the achievement of a tremendous milestone. By virtue of the authority vested by law in the Board of Regents of the University of Texas system and delegated to the University of Texas at Arlington, I hereby confer upon each of you the respective academic degrees for which you have been recommended, with all rights, privileges, responsibilities, and obligations pertaining thereto. Honored guests and members of the faculty, please join me in congratulating our graduates and the newest alumni of the University of Texas at Arlington.
Thank you, President Carbrari. Graduates, please remain standing while I invite you to participate in two important commencement traditions. First, for those graduates who received the official UT Arlington Maverick ring, you may now turn your ring so that UT Arlington faces outward. This symbolizes that you have earned your UT Arlington diploma and are now ready to face the world. From this day forward, all who encounter you will recognize you as a graduate of the University of Texas at Arlington. Congratulations. Second, graduates who have earned master's and doctoral degrees. You change your tassel from right to left when you received your bachelor degrees, and it will always remain on the left from this day forward. Bachelor graduates, you may now switch your tassels to the left side to signify that you have completed your undergraduate studies. I would like to congratulate all of our graduates again for your accomplishments and wish you continued success as you begin the next chapter of your lives. As our ceremony concludes, the graduates will follow behind the faculty using the center aisle to exit the arena. Graduates, please stay in line until you reach the outside exit onto Moritz Plaza. Guests, please remain seated until all graduates have exited the arena. You may exit by the north, northeast, or northwest doors and meet your graduates outside on Moritz Plaza, where a tent will provide you a safe location for you to find your graduates and begin your family celebrations. Thank you for your cooperation, and again, congratulations. We are concluded.